Hi, Sean.
I talked to you yesterday.
Good. You are fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes. A great host. Show is great. Listen to his show.
Absolutely, 95.5.
One mic. All I need is one mic. That's all I need.
Shelley Winter Show, live, local, topical, and relevant, my friends. Tuesday night, we're off the air at 8:30, so don't go anywhere. Stick with us. We just shortened by a half hour, so just stick with us. I got one of those shows tonight. It's going to be just a lot of it is just philosophical, really. Just Shelley Winter sharing his thoughts. There are a bunch of stories out there, stuff we've talked about, the boats and Hegseth and all that stuff. We could talk about that stuff, but, you know, I kind of want to just be a little philosophical tonight, especially since Georgia basketball is coming up at 8:30, okay? I want to start here. I really want to start here. I've danced around this issue for several years, actually, since I noticed it. And I want to get more specific. There's a problem in the Republican Party. And the problem in the Republican Party is not necessarily Trump, right? The media, people, Democrats, they will have you believe it's all centered on Trump. No, I'm here to tell you, in my humble opinion, the problem that we're having in the Republican Party is us. Let me explain. I have a bunch of friends in my life. Very diverse group of friends. And when I say they're friends, they're friends. They've been to my home. I know their families. I've been to weddings and things like that. And my friends are extremely diverse. I mean, I range from hard right Republicans all the way to hard left Democrats. And I have friends in all those different categories in between. I have friends who want to burn America down. I have black nationalist friends. I have far left Democrat Socialist of America friends. I mean, I've got friends basically all over the place. And they're my friends. We disagree on politics. We could still crack a beer. We could still visit the families and stuff like that. One of the things I notice about my left side friends, what I would call my Democrat friends, right? Just the total word Democrat, the left side. One thing I would say about them is that I've watched them debate other Democrats, other leftists, if you will. I've watched my corporate, let's call them corporate Democrats, debate my progressive, very progressive Democrat friends. And one of the things that I noticed about that side of the fence is that they debate the policy, or they debate the issue, or that they debate the idea. For instance, my progressive, really left progressive friends will debate things like free health care for all, or Medicare for all, or free college education, right? And my more moderate Democrat friends, what you would call a corporate Democrat, if you will, right, or a centrist Democrat, they will argue, well, how will you pay for it? And there'd be a nice back and forth. And if you sit on the sidelines and watch them, there'd be a cordial back and forth. Or if you're on social media, you'll watch them debate. And I've seen this before many, many times, where my far left friends on Facebook would argue with their more centrist buddies on the Democrat side, and they'll argue the policy. It's different on the Republican side. And this is where our problems are coming up, why we see problems, why we see fractures in the Republican Party. We used to argue ideas on the right-hand side with each other. We used to argue capitalism, free market capitalism. We used to argue tariffs, whatever the case may be, isolationism versus interventionism. We used to have these arguments on the right. And it used to be nice and vibrant. But in 2016, 2017, 2018, a bunch of new people came into the Republican Party. And they took away all the ability to have a nuanced discussion about policy. And it became seriously the we became the Republican Party became the party of personal destruction. Now, I'm not talking about two guys or two women or a guy and a woman running for office. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about regular people. And I'm seeing more and more of this. It started, like I said, in 2020. I remember during a county organization election in 2020 where I saw people not arguing. It was Cobb County. It was not having a nuanced discussion about the future of the Republican Party in Cobb County, which was increasingly turning purple with new demographics coming in. What I saw were people calling each other patriots versus rhinos. What I saw were people blaming people who were new to the party, saying they're a undercover Democrat. They voted for Obama. These were the personal attacks, destructive personal attacks. And even after this election, meetings were held, and people would be in meetings and they'd break off in cliques, and they were talking about people. Who's this guy? Where'd he come from? He's he's a closet Democrat. The politics of personal destruction of your neighbor. And that's the problem that we have in the Republican Party. And what made me think about this morning when I woke up was I was thinking about Brian Kemp when he ran for re-election. Hands down, by any measure, Governor Kemp is probably the greatest modern governor we've had, next to Sonny Perdue. Done more for the state, got the state moving. Taxes are low, schools are better, business is great, people are making money, people have work, people have jobs. And he's done a job in Georgia since his first election till now, a masterful job. And Democrats will tell you that. Yet there's a group of people in the Republican Party who hate Brian Kemp. To the point where the same Cobb County that I'm talking about, they voted to censure him or whatever, something silly. And I'm thinking to myself, how nuts can you be to hate the most popular governor we've had? And there are people who do. And that's what I mean. And so what happens is, this is why I bring this up. I bring this up because what happens is, there's an old quote, scripture in the Bible. And it says, it's in Psalms, I believe. I think it's Psalms. What's the one that has lessons? Is it Psalms? I think it's Psalms, right? In Psalms, I think it's in Psalms. And it essentially, I can't quote, because I can't quote the Bible like that. But it essentially says, when arguing with a fool, when people are looking from afar, they can't tell the difference. And it's similar here. What happens is, because the right engages in these politics of personal destruction, because if you post something on Facebook and you're a Republican and all of a sudden there's no nuance back, it's just you're full of it, you're a rhino, you're this, you're that, and there's no back and forth, someone reading that says, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not interested in joining that. I heard a quote from a friend of mine who's a pollster who told me that 40%, that the majority of independent voters in Georgia, the majority of independent voters in Georgia are Republicans. You know what that means? The party hasn't really changed. The reason why they've become independents, i.e. swing voters, is because the crazies ran them out. So now they don't want to be associated with a party whose base is crazy. So what they say to themselves, I'm not a Republican anymore. Well, then you ask them privately, well, why aren't you a Republican anymore? Because I don't want to be associated with that. I'll vote for a Republican, but I'm not going to call myself a Republican because I don't want to be associated with that. If we're to fix the problems in the Republican Party here in the state of Georgia, I will say this right now at 7:15 tonight on 95.5 WSB. We've got to run the crazies out of the party as quickly and as efficiently as the crazies ran the normies out of the party. And we've got to do it quickly, and we've got to start doing it now. If you're a Republican voter in Georgia and you're embarrassed by the base, you must start to speak out and let them know. Leave us alone. Start your own party. I don't care what you do. In other words, I'll eat this election, but I need to get rid of you. It's the Shelley Winter Show. 404-872-0750. 1-800-WSB-TALK. We'll be right back.